In this video, I'm going to talk about the challenges that I faced while trying to study abroad as an education major. I'm an early childhood special ed and Spanish major. Technically, my first major is one major with dual certification, but that's how my school refers to it, but it's technically two majors. I'm going to be certified in general early childhood education and early childhood special education. So I have to take all the regular early childhood classes as well as the special ed early childhood classes. So technically it's two majors, but my school refers to it as one major with dual certification. My next major is Spanish. Spanish is my major, but it's also my concentration. And the way my school works, if you're a Spanish concentration, you're basically a Spanish major. It's the same amount of classes and everything. The only difference is that you're required to study abroad if you want the major, which I didn't know this in the beginning. I had planned on taking the extra classes anyways to get the major. Once I found this out, I figured I'm going to study abroad so that I can get the major as well. It makes no sense to not get the major when it's the same amount of classes. So that's what I decided that I was going to do. But then freshman year we had this meeting and we were given a list of all the special ed classes we had to take, and special ed classes are only offered once a year and they're all at the same time, and basically it scared me, and I realized there was no way I was going to be able to study abroad as a special ed major, which is why most special ed majors at my school don't study abroad, because they don't know how to fit it into their schedule. So I decided to drop that idea and I looked into summer programs. Well, at my school I found out they had this summer program to study abroad in Puerto Rico. So I decided I was going to do that. It's super expensive though. I didn't want to do that. I was going to have to spend all this money, but I decided I was going to try to figure it out and I was going to do it. So I went and talked to someone in the Spanish department. She wasn't very helpful. She didn't know much. And then I found out that this program my school has had going on for years and years and years, but people from their school come to my school, but no one from my school ever goes to their school. I don't know why. Until last summer, someone went, but no one really ever goes there, so there was no one to talk to. No one knew anything about this program. No one could really help me. It was like kind of, if I wanted to go, I had to figure it out on my own. So I didn't really want to do that. But then, I ended up finding, my school started this new program where I could go teach in Spain for 3 weeks and get credits for it. So I was going to do that, and I talked to the person in the Spanish department to see if that could count as my study abroad requirement. But at my school, the study abroad requirement is you have to be at least 4 weeks in another country. My program was 3 weeks and 1 day, so I was just under that limit. So I had to figure out how to study abroad again after that because I wasn't there for long enough. Then, the end of my sophomore year, I was talking to my advisor, and the subject just happened to come up that I wanted to study abroad, and I didn't know how, and I knew it wasn't going to be possible because of my special ed major. And she just looked at me and she's like, "Oh, that's possible, you can study abroad." And I'm like, "How is that possible? I'm already at the end of my sophomore year, and I still have all these special ed classes to take." And she told me, "Oh, just take pre-student teaching early." Well, my school doesn't tell you that you're allowed to take pre-student teaching early or multiple special ed classes at the same time, because they don't want you to do this, and they will strongly, strongly advise that you don't do it. So my advisor recommended I did that, and I got a lot of slack from the head of the education department and everything saying, oh, how I shouldn't do it because it's going to be a lot of work. But in the end, I did it anyways because I knew that I could handle the work. It's not like it was going to be any harder than any other semesters that I've taken, because I've always taken on more than the normal person would take on. So that's what I decided to do. And that would get me completed with all my education classes, because I couldn't take any education classes abroad, basically at all. So the only thing I had left was I needed 4 Spanish classes and an art class at my school. Well, so basically I could combine that into 4 classes because my art could have counted as a Spanish. But the thing is, my school has this rule where when you study abroad, for a semester you're only allowed to take 3 classes that you get credit for at my school. I needed 4. And you're also required when you return back to my school to take at least 1 class before you graduate there. But I was already in my senior year, and I was student teaching. That I was going to be student teaching when I returned. There was no way that I was going to be able to take a Spanish class because we don't offer any online classes. They're all during the day in the morning when I'm student teaching. Like I was at student teaching from 7:30 in the morning till like 3:34 in the afternoon, and if I had to work, I was gone till like after 10. I didn't get home, so there was no way that was going to work. So then I decided to see if I could take an internship. So when I went to get all my study abroad paperwork filled out, she told me she would not give me permission to take the fourth class at all. It was the rule. She wouldn't do it. There was no way around it. That's basically what she told me. But so I asked her about an internship. She basically told me I could ask the associate dean in this arts and sciences department, but it's never approved. There was no way I was going to get it. Basically, she was telling me I wouldn't be able to graduate on time if I couldn't figure out how to take this other class, which it really irritated me, and I was upset. So I happened to work in the arts and sciences dean's office, so I worked with the associate dean. I was basically like her secretary. So she knew me very well. I had been working there for 3 years. So when I went and met with her for you have to meet with the associate dean before you study abroad. So I went and met with her for my meeting. I told her, like, I need 4 classes. They're only going to allow me to take 3 abroad, and 1 has to be taken when I return to Canisius, so can I get an internship? And she just looked at me so confused, and she's like, why won't they let you take 4 classes? I'm like, well, because they told me that's the rule. So she told me not to worry about it. And she called the Spanish department. She did so much for me. Because of her, she forced them to allow me to take 4 classes. She did all this research and showed them that I came in 2009 and that rule wasn't put in until afterwards, and they can't make me follow that rule. And she went on and on, emailed back and forth. I could hear on the phone talking to the lady in the Spanish department, going back and forth with her. And eventually, she made her put it in writing that I would be allowed to take 4 classes while studying abroad. She put it in my file so that no one could ever say that that wasn't allowed. She printed out a copy. She put it in my electronic file. She gave me a copy. She told me make sure I keep that in case anything ever happens, and they try not to let me get that 4th class. So because of her, I was able to finish all my Spanish classes and then still return and finish my student teaching and graduate on time. So I just want to let people know that even though it seems impossible to study abroad, you may have a major where you just look and say, there's no way to study abroad. Talk to an advisor. That's something that I didn't really do. I just automatically assumed that I couldn't study abroad because of my majors. So I'd recommend talk to an advisor, the head of whatever department you're in, and try to work something out so you can study abroad. Because you can always study abroad during the summer, but the way my school works, if I studied abroad during the summer, I was going to have to pay for it. If I studied abroad during the semester, all my scholarships went towards it, and I only had to pay the difference. So I highly recommend that you talk to someone. Don't automatically assume that you can't study abroad, but I also recommend that you do this early, freshman year. If you know you want to study abroad or even considering it, talk to someone so you can figure out how to work out your schedule so that you can get this done in time. So I hope that helped someone out. Bye.